In this video we're going to create our factories and have them destroyed by the incoming missiles. So I'll start by finding a nice place to start building the factory, and I'm going to drag a cube into the level, move it a little bit up and scale it. R for the scaling tools. Just gonna make it a little like a big cube with a couple of chimneys on top. A little larger chimney. And let's move it to the left here. And let's see, that looks good. Control W to copy. And move this over to the right. Control W again. And well, this looks good enough for me. So I select all the components again using Shift. I go to my Blueprints button and click Convert Selected Components to Blueprint Class. And this time I will make a new folder called Factory. And I'm going to call the blueprint PP Factory. So here we are again. Let's start out by renaming all the meshes. This one will be the base. This is chimney 1, chimney 2, and chimney 3. So now I'll move them all up so our origin is correct. Let's see, that looks about right. Let's check it out in the level, save. Now it's 1 unit. Move it down, place it on the ground. Looks good. Now what I like to do is I want to add a little effect to the chimneys so that it looks like something is going on in the factory. So I'll add a particle system. And the particle system contains a particle effect. And I can select it over here on the right. I can select the smoke effect. And now I'm going to move this up. And what this does, this particle system, it takes a simple texture like we used for the grass, and it just creates a bunch of them every frame with a random rotation and a random direction and speed. And all these simple textures together make a smoky effect. So as you can see, the particles start to fade as they get higher, and well, this looks pretty good. So I can duplicate this particle system with Control W, drag it over to chimney 2, duplicate again to chimney 3, and then I just need to move it over to the right. And particle system 1 needs to be moved over to there. So now when I go back to the game world, you can see there's smoke coming out, and well, it makes for a little more lively game. It looks pretty good. So let's stop the game again. And now we want to respond to a damage event which is created by the ICBM. So let's start by going to the ICBM, content, ICBM, double click on the ICBM blueprint, and this time we are going to use the begin overlap event. So remove the tick and the begin play, and let's start by dragging off and searching for damage. And here we are, apply damage. And the damaged actor would obviously be the actor we are overlapping with. So just drag it over. The base damage is currently set to 0, and I want to be able to easily edit this later. So I'm going to create a variable. So I drag off the base damage node, and then I can click here, promote to variable, and I can directly rename this to damage. Then to set the value, I need to compile the blueprint. So I do, and let's set this to 10 or whatever. And the instigator is like the controlling object, like for instance a player, but for now we well, the missile is not really controlled and we don't really need to assign this, but we could use the damage causer to pass a reference to ourselves to the apply damage function, so that we can use it at the factory where this apply damage is received. So I drag off and I search for self, and then we get a reference to ourselves. So now I'm not sure if we really going to use this at the factory, but it's good to make sure this is set so we can identify who is causing damage, because maybe we don't want to respond to damage from our own missiles. And then after we have applied damage, I am going to destroy. That's a typo. Destroy actor over here. The target is ourselves. So this looks fine to me. So this is the when we start to overlap with another actor. We apply damage to the other actor, and then we destroy ourselves. So with this done, let's move over to the factory, to the event graph. And here there is we are going to delete all the events over here. We are going to right click, search for the events tab, and then we can find the event any damage, and we are going to respond to any damage. And here you see the damage causer from the ICBM. So we could check, for starters, we could check whether this is an ICBM, and for that we can use a cast to a BP ICBM. And the reason we need to do this is the damage causer on this side is a generic actor, and using this we can make it more specific. So damage can be caused by all the actors in the world, and hence it's a really generic actor object at this side. So after we've cast it, we are going to execute further, and we are going to destroy ourselves. And we're not going to look at the damage that's actually caused. We could do that, for instance, if we create a variable with our health and set it to 100. We could decrease that health so that we could take multiple hits. But for now this is fine. So compile, save, go back to this view. And to easily test this, I am going to drag an ICBM, right over the top of the factory and press play. And now nothing happens. Why is that? Let's see. Let's start by printing some debug strings. They are very handy. So print string, and we can specify the string. This is the any damage event. Factory any damage event. So as soon as this code is called, it's going to print any damage event to the screen and then continue on with this. And let's go to the ICBM and go to the begin overlap event and then do the same. Print string. And we are going to do ICBM actor begin overlap and compile, save and play. Let's see. And nothing is printed. We should be expecting some strings to go down here. And why is that? You are first going to try to figure this out for yourself. I'll give you a hint. It's got to do with collision settings on both the warhead and the base on the ICBM, and the chimney and base on the factory. So go ahead and see if you can figure out why nothing is happening.